Hello, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my channel, Dog-Eared Page. Today we are going to get into one of my favorite things ever, my library haul. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I made a promise to myself that in August I would only read books I own. I lied. I went to the library to pick up a couple graphic novels and a couple turned into half of the library plus a couple novels. So we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna break it into 3 sections. One will be novels, one will be my ebooks that I get through the library, and then we're gonna go through all of the graphic novels I picked up. Alright, let's get into it. So first and foremost, some of these I have already read because I got them earlier in July and I read them this month already. So you'll hear more about that in my wrap-up video, which should be probably next week after the Booktubeathon. But let's get into it. The first book that I checked out from the library is The Raven Boys, which is book number 1 in the Raven cycle. I started it on audiobook, and I have a problem with audiobooks when it's only one narrator, in that I blank. I zone out. I miss sections, and then I come in and I realize how much I love something, but I've missed minutes, seconds, I don't know how much, and I don't want to sit there and rewind and find where I last tuned in. So I checked the book out and I read the first 50 or so pages before I realized it was going to be a story that I just loved, and so I bought the book, which you'll see in my next haul. So yeah, The Raven Boys, about Blue, who is, I guess, clairvoyant in a way. Her mother and the women she lives with are psychics, and she can help amplify what it is that they can read from people, and she kind of gets into some shenanigans, I guess, with some rich boys from a rich school, and it's despite her mother's better judgment / warning, and that's just really the surface of it, as it's a 4-book series. So I'm about halfway through, but again, you'll see it in another haul. The second book is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I also have read this one. It was really good. I suggest everyone check it out. It's a YA thriller. It is about 5 teenagers who are in detention when one of them dies, and the other 4 then have the aftermath of the blame, I guess we could say. It basically breaks down to who did it and who's lying about everything, to find out why did the person die, who was involved. It was a real page turner. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I read it in like 2 days. Then, if you watched my other videos, you know that I've checked out Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. It's not the first time I've checked it out. It is probably close to the 5th time if you consider all the ebooks I also checked out. I'm still only about halfway through it. I'm just gonna buy it someday so that I don't have the stress of having to read a book this thick in a date that I have to read by. Hopefully before October, when the sequel comes out, I'll get this done. But it's just such a pretty book, and I feel like the paperback's even prettier, so I'll probably get the paperback version of it when I do. But yeah, so those books I not purchased, those books I had checked out early in July, and I got to technically 2 of them. So yesterday when I went to the library to get a few graphic novels for the Booktubeathon, I ended up picking up Shatter Me. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people really love the series and some people really think it's super tropey. I might get to it, I might not. It was one of those things I just saw and I picked it up, and we'll see. It's not that long. I've also heard that the first book isn't as good as the rest of them, and I really, really like the covers of them. Not this one specifically, but the ones with all the eyes on it, and that's really probably why I've been interested in checking it out, but we will see if I even get to it. Then lastly, I checked out Young Jane Young. by Gabrielle Zevin. I only know what I've heard about it on BookTube. I know Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads really liked it, and I'm pretty sure she went into it thinking it was something it wasn't and ended up loving it. And from what I know, it is about a woman that has an affair with a politician, and instead of it affecting him, it ends up affecting her, so she decides to change her name and try and make her own life, but then decides to get into politics, and that affair and the drama surrounding it come back to kind of bite her in the ass, and that's what this is about. So we'll see. It's another one that, again, we'll see if I get to it, because I really just want to read books that I own this month, but it is a library book, so I can check it out again. So that concludes the physical novels that I checked out from the library for this month, and we will move on to ebooks. Okay, so this month I checked out 7 ebooks from my library via Overdrive. That's a lot, and I think that I read them all this month, so my July wrap-up is going to be pretty long, but let's get into the ebooks that I checked out. Number 1 is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I have a lot to say about this book in a not good way. So when I get to my July wrap-up, be prepared for that. It was probably my least favorite read of the month. Number 2 is The Strange and Wonderful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I checked that out on a whim because Julie from Pages and Pens and Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads both read it this month and loved it. So I checked it out because it was available and I had nothing to read on my phone, and I read that book in like 2 days. Review to come. I keep talking about the books I read when this is just supposed to be a haul, so. Also I checked out Heartless by Marissa Meyer on audiobook. It was just something to listen to in the background while I do dishes and laundry, so it worked. I have liked her past works, and it was a decent audiobook, but again, it falls into the category of a single narrator. She did a really good job, but I went in and out, though I got the gist of it. And on that note with audiobooks, a really good audiobook I checked out was Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and it had a full cast ensemble. And next to American Gods by Neil Gaiman and their full cast ensemble, this audiobook blew me away. It was such a good read/listen. So if you have thought about checking out the Illuminae files, I suggest the audiobook if you want something to listen to. So good. I also checked out Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. Another really easy read, told dossier style, about giant parts that are found around the world and put together secretly by basically the United States government, but not really, and then kind of the fallout behind that when it comes to light, that we have this giant weapon of a giant. And it's a trilogy, so I do intend to read the rest of it. I'm waiting for my copies at the library right now. I also checked out The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. That's a thriller about a woman who suffers from agoraphobia. It is a thriller that, among my least favorite tropes, is an unreliable narrator, as she has a drinking problem and takes a bunch of medication for her agoraphobia, her anxiety, her depression, and she sees what she thinks is a murder in a house nearby, and it's kind of a thriller based off of, did she really see it, or is she hallucinating? I need to gather myself so I don't keep saying I liked it, I liked it, I liked it, I liked it. And last but not least, my last ebook checkout was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Again, you've seen me talk about it. I won't talk much more about it. Everybody who is on BookTube has probably heard about it. but I checked it out from my library, so it's in this video. And now we're gonna move on to the graphic novels that I checked out from the library this month. I checked out a lot of graphic novels, so bear with me. The only ones I returned already and don't have the physical copy of are Motor Crush Volumes 1 and 2. So Motor Crush is about this thing called crush, which is basically, how do I say this? Like a juice / medicine that you can put in your motorcycle to amplify its ability to speed, basically. And the main woman that we follow through the graphic novel can actually drink the stuff, and she doesn't know why, and she doesn't know where she's from, and it's basically a graphic novel trying to figure out who she is compared to everybody else in the world. And the crush has become illegal, so it's harder for her to get, and she needs it to survive. So we follow her in that journey. The next graphic novel that I have is Kim Reaper, Grim Beginnings. It is a graphic novel about a girl who has just become a Grim Reaper, and you're seeing it more from the perspective of another girl that has a crush on her in their university class, and follows her into the realm in which she's doing a reaping, and it's kind of the shenanigans they get into after that. The art's really cool, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, Kim Reaper. As part of my Booktubathon challenge, I am going to be reading Only the End of the World Again by Neil Gaiman. It's a graphic novel that definitely like harkens back on Lovecraft. Lovecraft is someone that my husband truly loves. He's not a huge reader, but he's read everything H.P. Lovecraft has written, as far as I know. We have, I don't know if you can see it in the frame, and maybe one day I'll take you through the collection, but we have a ton of H.P. Lovecraft novels, short stories, things that were inspired by him, and I'm sure if you're a Neil Gaiman fan, you'll know that he's a big inspiration for Neil Gaiman, so it's kind of like the two worlds collided. We've got Lovecraft for my husband, Neil Gaiman for me, so when you put together those two components into a graphic novel, as this takes place in Innsmouth, which is a place that Lovecraft created himself, and then you bring a werewolf into it, I can only guess it's going to be entertaining, so we're going to see what it is during Booktubathon. The next set of graphic novels I picked up are The Beauty, which is it's issues 3 and 4, or I should say volumes 3 and 4. I read 1 and 2 last summer, and I had really looked forward to the release of 3, and then it just got away from me, and 4 is now out. It is about a world in which people basically die to be beautiful. You can take some kind of pill, I want to say it is. It's been a year, forgive me. And it makes you like insanely beautiful, but it's obvious that you've taken it because the average people look average, and there's like a shelf life, so these people start dying, like horrible, blown up from the inside deaths. And so basically what you're trying to figure out is why is it happening, who's making money off of it. You've got people that are very anti the beauty, and people who are like obviously dying for it. I really liked the first one. I thought it was really creative and original, and I scooped up the second one right away, and it was a little lesser. You followed a different set of characters in the same world, so I'm not sure how 3 and 4 pan out, if that's the same way, but I will get back to you guys on that. The next set of graphic novels I got is called Kim and Kim. I picked it up because the second volume, this one right here, was in the new graphic novels section of my library, and that's usually how I pick my new graphic novels for the month. I go there first and see what's new, and it happened to be that this was the second volume, so I went and found the first volume, which is this one right here, And I didn't know much about it. I scanned through the pages because I like to pick it based on art sometimes when I know nothing about it. And then I checked out on Goodreads, and I wanted to read the quote for you guys because it made me pick it up, but they say it's a mix of Tank Girl and Superbad if Michael Cera was a trans woman and Jonah Hill was a queer lady. That alone was interesting enough for me to want to pick it up and see what Kim and Kim is about. I also picked up all the Descender editions that, volumes editions, that the library had because my brother-in-law lent me his second volume, which I'll read for the Booktubathon. And then I like to read a series in full because we are a society in which we have the need for instant gratification or to binge things, and I am not immune to that, so I picked up volumes 3, 4, and 5 of the Descender series so that I can just read straight through when I get around to it. And it'll probably be the first graphic novels I pick up this month when I need a break from novels. And I'm excited because it is so far a really interesting story, kind of post-apocalyptic after robots have been kind of integrated into our society, but then a bunch of people die and you're following a little boy robot that was made to be a companion for a human boy his age. And after the first novel, he's trying to find his human, but I'm pretty sure his human's dead, so it's kind of figuring out how society is going to work now post all this death and turmoil and robots. And then my final segment of graphic novels is yet again another full series. I picked up 6 volumes of this series solely because I walked into the library adult section, and in the new graphic novels the 6th volume was sitting, and I loved the cover so much that without even looking up the synopsis I went and grabbed all 6 volumes. And that is The Wicked and the Divine. So this is the first one, and the synopsis is literally, I think that like every 12 years gods come back onto Earth and they live for like 2 years, and they're like famous, I guess. Like they're the pop stars of the world. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I went on Goodreads after I got home and mixed reviews. We're gonna see, but the covers are so gorgeous. We've got the first volume, the second volume, third. You see what I'm saying? They're beautiful. Fourth, yeah, just making sure I'm not out of order there. Fifth, and the 6th one. So this is the cover that caught my eye. It made me think of Aladdin, honestly, but it's just so simple with, you know, a center focus, and I went right to it. So we're gonna see how it goes. It's a little thick. I doubt I'll read it in August, but that's the beauty of the library, is I can extend my loans. So that's it for my library haul. It was a lot bigger than it should have been, considering my promise to myself, but we will see. I love the library. If you do library hauls, let me know. I love to see what people check out. I hope you enjoyed. If you've read any of these, especially the graphic novels, because I'm going in blind to most of them, please let me know. Tell me what you liked or didn't like. And as always, subscribe if you're new here, like if you liked the video, and if you want to link up on any of my social media, it is down below. And have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.